So a few celebrities have been proposing that we have an Ancestors Day in the calendar. So thought, come here, let's have that conversation. Quite an interesting time to be alive. As you know, I wanted us to go over and see what it's about. What are they saying about this? I thought it would be interesting if we see it. I actually saw this article on the Daily Sun and everything, and they kind of like show some of the celebrities that are there. I know he was on, is it Isbaya? And he's Wiseman from Ikshagalembe, and many other celebrities and so forth. And so they are proposing the 128th day of the month for this particular proposed thing, that they have this day. I think that's Mpoa Badimo, and if I do actually recognize, and I think that's the other gentleman who was a pastor and stuff. And so they had this event recently where they were speaking about having this out there, and so to propose Ancestors Day be put on the calendar. And so interesting. And so, as I stated, this is actually a Daily Sun article published yesterday, and so you can go check it out over there. Even the snapshots, you can actually just scroll them right about here. All right. And so, before I go any further, without further ado, it's the Reality Show, the daily Christian commentary video. If it's your first time over here, to be sure, check out the other videos that are done in the pinned comments, and I'm gonna check you out over there. Now, before we go back into the article, as it reads some of the things that are about this day that they would want added to the calendar, I found it just quite an interesting one. Not that they're making the connection or anything, or that we're necessarily connecting this. I just thought it's quite an interesting one. You know, if you actually read Psalm 100 and 128, 101, 128, it's actually about this relationship between God, the offspring, and those that are by your children, the whole nine jazz of things. So quite an interesting read if you actually remember that particular chapter. Now, if you actually go back also into what does the article then talk about, thought it was interesting. I put it up here, and let's go through some of the points that I mentioned there. They say that television celebrities and traditional healers, Sangomas, came out in large numbers to celebrate Ancestors Day in style. That's the article actually puts out. It says Daily Sun spoke to celebrities who attended the event and the significance of the day and what it means for them. Right. And so it says the event took place on Wednesday the 8th in Stay by, they mentioned the particular location, okay, and they say that in Congress Tarata of the leaders of South Africa and Tararam Tata and Castle Stout to celebrate Ancestors Day as an accelerate push for the 8th of May to be declared a National Ancestors Day, and on the national calendar, basically during Africans Month and so forth. And so it's kind of like the proposal that they are making for the day, right? The same way people of the flag have their day in a month, and so it's kind of like the same thing that they are kind of proposing here. Okay, they say the celebration was filled with performance from the Soil, Pila Ndlozi and Nelisiwe Sbaya, and other celebrities were in attendance, Gogo Dineo, and it kind of mentions the others there. Right, it says award-winning traditional wise men thingy who is also very much public about his involvement with ancestral honoring or ancestral worshipping and so forth. It says celebrating who it's celebrating who we are and where we come from, and respecting those who who paved the way before us. Sangomas and television personality, Pobadimo said that recognition of the day means there is a legacy for our ancestors in the books of history, and a legacy for the next generation, and freedom for them to speak freely about ancestors. I don't think there is a resistance. I mean, like, y'all have television shows, so I don't know what she means by that. Y'all have television shows, y'all can say y'all targeting people. Huh? Like saying, that's as free a country as you're gonna get. I mean, like, what are you asking for? What are we asking for? People are on television saying, yeah, I messed up someone's life. Yeah, like, I twisted their life upside down. Like, you literally have Sangomas on TV doing that. And so you can speak openly. So I don't think that's the thing. It says the day will remind us of where we came from as people, as a people. However, it needs to be recognized as on a bigger platform. So a calendar, basically. It's important for everyone. Not me. African Day for me, yes, definitely. There's a meaning to that. There's a meaning to being African. Same way there's a meaning for a Jew being a Jew. There's a meaning for one. So African Day does that. But talking about ancestors for me, nah, it's not really that thingy. Okay, I'm not. I don't see talking about people that are dead, because I got issues with people that are alive. You know, and so yeah, and also I have God in my mouth, so I don't have time to talk about people that are dead. That's just me, right? That's what I believe in, and so it's just that we have different views on that part. It's not the most important thing to have a day to talk about dead people for me. You know, that kind of offend you. I mean, like, it's about me. I don't want it. But I wouldn't stop you from wanting that, right? Because I understand the freedom of your right to worship. But y'all have a television show. Y'all have Moja Love. Like, the entire Moja Live is for y'all. And so this day reminds us where we come from. And it needs to be recognized on a bigger platform. It is important for everyone to know their roots, right? This is a bittersweet day, reminding those who came before, remembering those who came before us. I mean, like, is it about the day because y'all do it every day, right? Like, if you're a person who does Ndumbing, we call it Ndumbing on this channel because it's like Indumba. For those that don't understand, Ndumba, it's where the shrine of a person who is a Sangoma and stuff. So Ndumbing, in the sense that it actually speaking to the dead and so forth, is kind of like having the ancestors constantly in reminder, right? So daily. So the day, yeah, I see why you would want the day. I get why you would want the day, but you kind of do that on the dailies. I'm glad this day has finally come. I want it to be bigger and include the youth, and it's our duty as influential people in the field to teach young people about our roots. So she said, right? And so, yeah, I like I've said before, you know, everybody has the right to worship what they believe. And personally, I believe that for me, this whole thing of ancestral worship, it's being an evangelist for the people that are dead. I can't do that. I can't. I have God, the living God, to talk about. I can't talk about their people. They are their lives to talk about. And yeah, their experiences that they could live through. I don't have that time. I just don't have that time, man. I do not have that time. I'm not giving it 5 seconds for thinking. I can be talking about it. Like, if you even put the comparison, it doesn't even weigh, you know. And also, a bit of a contradiction for me, or any Christian really, like any Christian really, would be that there is the whole thing of ancestors are giving gifts. You know, I'm carrying iskwama saka baba or saka mgoko, or, you know, like I don't believe in that, like completely, 100%. I don't believe in that. Why don't I believe in that? Because God gives the gifts. So I have no squama for the gogos to be carrying. No, it's not happening. And so that's another layer which kind of just shows the areas where there's contradiction on belief. And then also, again, I have to burn incense before I talk to these ancestors. And so that was an act that was done towards God, you know. So I can't do that towards their people. I can't. You know, I have God that it was done to, who doesn't require that now. And so there's these elements, you know, there's all these elements, and then the ancestors have their clothing line, you know. they got clothes that they want people to wear and those kind of things and stuff. And so to show their allegiance, you gotta kill an animal, wear the skin and stuff like that. It's kind of like quite an interesting one. You know, when you did a covenant with God, there was skin that was removed. And so now there's this skin that's taken from an animal is put on me. You see, like this type of things, you know, it's like, you get me. Yeah, you get me. And so it's this type of things that say to me, I got no business with that. You know, man, them's got no business with that. Another thing, okay? Oh, that's a very good one. Because this pandla would kind of like represent that, right? It represents, if you go back into that Old Testament, that foreskin that was removed from a man. Yeah, think about that. Now you got the skin that comes from an animal and it's put on you. The skin was taken away when you were. It was a sign actually of a covenant with thingy, and also it was a very private covenant. Now this one is a bit of a public one, but anyways, you get what I mean. All these things that are contrasting and they are actually in opposition to each other. They kind of clash if you think of it. God as a temple, which now becomes the body, and then Dumbing has its corner. If it is just a normal household, they will most likely have a plant or something. Or in a Dumba, for a Sangoma, it will have an entire house of its own where all this stuff gets done, right? And another thing, again, that's just kind of like off the top of my head, another thing, these ancestors, if you don't accept their way, they will force it on you. That's kind of contrary to what God does, you know. The Bible is very clear. He knocks. He that hears, he will come in and dine with him. And so if you reject God, not going to force it on you, you know. Although when you read Romans, there is also an obligation to the message you are given. And so, which is why I say, hey, I got a message already. I can't have another person feed a message to me to talk about dead people. Can't do that. Because I already have a message for the living God, for people to come to life in Messiah and find forgiveness and relationship with God, the living God. And so, yeah, you see where this, yeah, you understand. Yeah, I'm glad you understand. And so I thought it was just an interesting one, but also to just kind of come back and highlight why, for me, it is not the most important day, and why. Like, I get if they want that, of course. I wouldn't even oppose that, because everybody gets a day and so forth. You know, there's a day for that. There's a day for that. And so if they were to give that day, okay, there's Pride Day. You know, there's a Pride Month and all that. So yeah, but for me, that particular lining of saying, you know, it's the most important, it's not really, because it contradicts the whole involvement with ancestors. It contradicts relationship with God. But y'all tell me what you think down in the comment section. I thought it was quite an interesting one, worth our time for us to have a conversation about. It is Ricky, and I believe, you know, we live in that day and age, or in that time where people are much aware of what do they want to hold to. And it's kind of like out there now, there's all kinds of ideas. Do you want to attack the Bible? What do you want to do? Want to distance yourself from a relationship with God? What do you want to do? Abandon this relationship towards that relationship. I'm gonna stick with God. It's Ricky. As for me and my house, we shall worship the Lord.